Did you know that there's a state flower for every state? Each one was chosen by popular vote decades ago, and I figured it would be fun to tell stories about each of them to introduce our new state flower series. This is the story of how Kansas got its sunflower. The year is 1876, and Jedediah is driving his team of oxen down a dirt road. The land stretches out before him as far as he can see, waving grasses beneath the sky, so blue it hurts his eyes to look at it. He squints against the sun, shielding his face with a calloused hand. It's the kind of day that makes a man want to just stop and stare off into the endless horizon. And Jedediah finds himself doing just that. He takes a deep breath and exhales slowly. Out here on the prairie, it's easy to feel like the world is full of nothing but possibilities. All around him, the ground is baked hard from the summer heat, cracked like an eggshell. But after a recent rain, the ruts in the road are filling up with water, reflecting the sky above like 1,000 tiny mirrors. To Jedediah, the land looks like a cracked mirror, too, fractured and broken, but beautiful nonetheless. When he first came out west, all of this had looked the same to him, just flat, featureless land as far as the eye could see. But now he sees the land differently, not as a place to tame, but as something already beautiful. Wildflowers poke up between the tall grasses, nodding their heads in the breeze. Hawks circle overhead, riding thermals all day long. Sometimes deer bound across his path, white tails flashing. At night, the stars come out to play. The Milky Way hangs like a river of light in the dark sky, and the smaller constellations dance around it like sparks thrown from a blacksmith's forge. For a moment, Jedediah feels a swell of pride, knowing that he is part of something bigger than himself. He and his family are just a small piece of the grand scheme of things out here on the prairie, and yet they are an important piece, helping to bring life to this wild land. It's a heady feeling, but a necessary one if you're going to survive out here. You have to believe that what you're doing is important, that you are making the world a better place. Of course, most folks back east don't see it that way. They think the only good thing about the West is the shiny new cities that are popping up along the railroads. Cities like Chicago and Denver and San Francisco, places where men go to get rich quick, where fortunes are made and lost in a gambler's throw. Out here, though, life is different. Out here, it's the slow, steady work that builds character, that creates real wealth. The soil may not be as rich as back east, but the sky is big enough to hold all the dreams a man could ever have. Jedediah looks out at the endless sea of grass again and smiles. Even though he doesn't know it, the land is looking back at him, smiling too, because the prairie is full of secrets, and one of those secrets is about to change his life forever. Each spring when the snow melts and the rains come, the prairie comes alive with color. The first wildflowers to bloom are the crocuses, pushing up through the cold, wet earth, announcing the coming of spring with their cheerful purple faces. Then the Indian paintbrush appears, followed by the shooting star, and finally, when the days are warm and long, the sunflowers. At first, there are just a few, poking up here and there amongst the grasses. But then more appear, until the prairie is a patchwork quilt of green and gold. As the weeks pass, the sunflowers grow taller and wider, turning their faces up to the sun, drinking in its life-giving rays. Soon, the prairie is a sea of gold, stretching as far as the eye can see. It's a sight that takes your breath away, that makes you want to stop and stare. And no one knows this better than Jedediah. Every year he watches as the sunflowers take over the prairie, and every year he is amazed at their beauty. He doesn't know it yet, but this year will be different. This year, the sunflowers will change his life forever. The air is hot and heavy, and Jedediah wipes the sweat from his forehead with a red bandana. He's been out in the field all day, planting corn, and his back is aching from the constant stooping and planting. But as he looks out over the field, he sees something that makes him stop and stare. In the distance, he sees a group of men gathered around something. At first, he can't make out what it is, but as he gets closer, he sees that they are standing around a circle of sunflowers. And in the middle of the circle is a woman. She's tall and slender with long flowing hair and a dress the color of a sunflower. She's holding a single flower in her hand, and as she turns it this way and that, the light catches its golden petals, making them gleam like gold. As Jedediah watches, one of the men steps forward and takes the flower from the woman. He turns it over in his hands, examining it closely. Then he looks up at the woman and asks, "What's the name of this flower?" The woman smiles and says, "Why, that's a sunflower, of course." The man shakes his head and says, "No, that's not true. This is a prairie sunflower, and we should make it the state flower of Kansas." The other men nod their heads in agreement, and Jedediah feels a surge of pride. He's seen these wild sunflowers every year, and he's always loved their beauty. But he never thought much about it. He just let them be a part of the landscape. Now, though, he understands that these flowers are more than just a pretty face. They are a symbol of the prairie, of the hard work and dedication it takes to live off the land. When the vote is finally held, the prairie sunflower wins by a landslide, and Jedediah couldn't be happier. Every time he sees a field of sunflowers now, he remembers the day that they became the state flower of Kansas. And he knows that no matter what happens, the prairie will always be there, strong and beautiful, just like the sunflowers that grow wild across its face. And that is the story of how the sunflower became the state flower of Kansas. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. See you next time.